Southmore High School. And then, by the way, hey, there are some more storms now popping up on the over by Mustang, and those are extending just west of the airport. So, by the way, that northern fringe where Amanda is, it's not severe warned, but there is a bit of a small uptick in hail by Tuttle and Mustang. It's probably going to be much smaller, probably looking at about pea sizes out of that. And then big hailstorm there coming down by Chickasha. And look at that. That, by the way, this storm is starting to take on a bit of a characteristics that this storm did as well, where the southwest side of it really starts to increase. The last scan, though, looks like a lot of the hail may have just fallen out of that storm there. But for Chickasha, Grady County, let me double check real quick here what this storm is warned for. Ooh, tennis balls size hail on that storm west of Pecasset. There it is right there, north of Erdon, west of Pecasset. Chickasha comes in about 20 minutes. You only have 20 minutes, Chickasha. Tennis ball size hail with that. Let's go back into the metro here, get an update on what's happening for those by Tinker, East OKC. Line of storms moving in. By the way, Edmond, you're fine now. Edmond, things have really improved. Still finding a hail core here, though, southeast of Tinker. That's moving right off the lake, and eventually it's going to head down towards Stella, Pink, and eventually coming in towards western Pottawatomie County. Storm on top of Moore, now moving down towards Norman. This is going to have at least some pockets of big hail. Doesn't look nearly as large as what we saw moments ago when this storm was over by the airport. So if you're in Norman right now, you know, that's good to hear, but we still find the bigger hail there right now from Broadmoor, Belmore Golf Club, right along Sooner Road, and as you go all the way up towards Stanley Draper. Let me check in with Michael. I believe Michael is going to be down south by Newcastle. Michael, what are you seeing?
Yeah, we're along the H.E. Bailey Turnpike. We're just a few miles northeast of Chickasha. Damon, this storm is actually still warned for baseballs. It is every bit the storm looked like earlier that was moving kind of down toward Yukon. It's got that same look to it visually. It's got lowered clouds out on the leading edge of it and just a mass of rain and hail. Look how dark the sky is. That is moving right down toward the northwest side of Chickasha. It's just north of Verdon. I mean, there is a chance it could weaken, but I don't think you can count on that. If you live in Chickasha, prepare for a damaging hailstorm.
Yeah, definitely. If you're down by Chickasha, Michael's watching it for you there. What we're also watching right now, it looks like downburst winds are really starting to flare up there right over by Stanley Draper. Let's go back over into Cleveland County, because in the last radar scan, you can see the wind starting to fan out. And so if you look at right here on top of Draper, and so there is a bit of a downburst signature that's starting to pick up. Basically, the storm is pushing out some pretty strong winds, anywhere from Draper out by Shorts Elementary School. And so just a heads up, if you are east of Sooner, south of Tinker, by Draper here, there are going to be a pocket of some pretty strong winds that could easily exceed 55, 60 plus miles per hour. You can get some really strong winds when you start seeing these popping up on the radar right here. Jonathan doing a great job of highlighting the direction that the winds are going. And so, again, the storm, basically, it's like a water balloon, where if you drop a water balloon and it hits the ground and the water just fans out like that, that's what the storm is doing right now. It's dropping winds, and so the winds hit the ground and then they fan out like that. But they can get pretty strong here. Jonathan, does it look like the storm is showing any signs of beginning to weaken? I know we're right on top of the radar side here.
We can switch over to our radar right there. One concern too, when they collapse and when they weaken, they dump all the hail that's lofted up. It all falls down, and so you're going to get accumulating hail. Most of it, it could be damaging hail, but a lot of little hail where it accumulates, that can happen. Also, you can get those straight line damaging winds, and that was that signature. I'd consider that wet microburst. And so we have all these tools, our live radar. Love the terminal radar. That is a radar that the FAA uses for looking for wind shear, and it is like tuned up to find winds, and that is a classic wet microburst. So the wind's going away. These are divergent winds. Those winds are moving towards. So right there is at South Henning Road and southeast 134th. That's a wet microburst right there. So those can do damage comparable to a small tornado, but they can do damage nonetheless. Potentially 60 to 70 miles an hour. So if it's not one thing, it's another. If it's not it's a hail risk, you're going to have the damage and wind risk. And that's right over what we call the cone of silence, right over the next red site there for Twin Lakes radar.
And by the way, brand new severe thunderstorm warning now coming out for southwestern OKC again. So now we're getting another warning back into the southwestern part of the metro. It's for this complex right here. And also Chickasha, I know your phones just went off. You just got that alert. When your phone goes off because of a severe thunderstorm, that's when it goes destructive. And so it's for 70-mile-per-hour winds and bigger than tennis balls for Chickasha. That's going to be for Chickasha. They just want to give an update because I know everyone there, your phones just went off, and it's because of this storm right here that is dropping some big hail. Let me go back out to Michael here. Michael, I know you're in the warning. You just got that alert, Michael. What's happening here in Grady County?
Right, and I can just tell you on my phone what it says is destructive hail up to 3 inches in diameter. Damon, here's a feature that I have not seen today. Look at the lowering that's with this storm. Now, doesn't necessarily mean it's a tornado, but the cloud base is so much lower down to the ground, that's going to help feed this storm and make it even stronger as it's coming down toward Chickasha. So this is, I'm telling you, man, this is a beast. This is a supercell. This is not like a line of storms. This is a rotating individual supercell that can drop some monster hail.
It certainly can, and this is taking on a look that the storm that went over Yukon and southwest OKC did as well. It's the southwestern side. Remember about, 30 minutes ago, 45 minutes ago, when we went out to Amanda Benton and the ground was just covered in hail. The roofs were just covered in hail. It looked like it snowed. That's what this storm is beginning to do. And when you get that destructive tag on it, that is what's going to alert your phones. So just want to give a heads up. We are watching it right now. It is showing some signs of rotation, which, by the way, when it's dropping hail that big, it certainly will. North of Verdon, dropping down towards Chickasha right now. Okay, I believe the warning just went out for OKC. All right, brand new warning. This one's not going to be as significant as what we had earlier, but it is going to be for wind right now. That's going to be for down by Mustang and coming back into Cleveland County. So we have overlapping warnings right now. So the new warning is going to be this one that runs from basically Bridge Creek, Tuttle, Mustang, down back by the airport. Pocket of intense winds right where Amanda is. We'll have to get Amanda on here if we can here because I want to get an update from her. But a brand new warning just went out, not so much for hail. The hail size actually looked pretty small out of this one, penny size hail, but there is an increase in the winds that are about to blow into Newcastle right now in between Mustang and Newcastle, right by the airport, right on top of the Canadian River here. Let me go out to Amanda. Amanda, brand new warning just came out. Severe thunderstorm warning for winds. What are you seeing right now, Amanda?
Yeah, Damon, that's exactly what we've been seeing is some pretty gusty winds. We've seen up to 50 miles per hour, I would say, at times with this storm coming in. Torrential rainfall, and we've had quite a bit of small hail, but like you said, not one really for the hail, but the winds definitely have been pretty gusty, up to 50, Damon.
Those winds beginning to pick up, so we're watching that. Let's go back over to the radar right now. Again, this picture coming in from Amanda, and so I am seeing an increase in the winds, by the way, east of Sooner Road, north of Norman, over by Franklin, over on, it's going to be east of Belmar, east of Red Canyon Ranch. There's been an increase in the winds right here. There's Franklin, there's Stanley Draper. And so it looks like it's on the backside of this storm, I do believe. But the winds are at least kind of flaring up just a bit. It happened real fast, just in between Sooner and Franklin, right there, as it came right over Belmar. And now it looks like that's fanning out a bit here, but there are some strong winds. By the way, this storm is no longer warned for the really large hail that we had earlier. Now it's back down to quarters. So quarter-size hail. That's going to run down towards Lake Thunderbird, Slaughterville, and Etowah. And then these storms that are from basically Newcastle, Blanchard, that has wind, not a ton of hail. It's mainly wind. And then that storm down by Pecasset is going to have some big hail and some big wind in it as well. So we are working a lot of things right now. But what we don't have are any tornado warnings currently. These are all severe thunderstorm warnings. Doesn't mean that we certainly don't have a tornado risk. We are going to have to watch it. Today's tornado threat is not particularly high, but it's not zero. It is one that we're going to have to watch. If there's a storm that shows any type of at least characteristics of a storm trying to rotate or even could produce a tornado, it's always going to be these ones on the southwest side here that's moving due south. It does have an inflow notch as it's coming towards Chickasha. So just a heads up, Chickasha, this is about we're about 10 miles or so up to northwest. This is moving down to the south. It has some incredibly large hail in it, bigger than tennis ball size hail. That is the warning right there. And it looks like it's going to move right in between Verdon and Chickasha. Chickasha is going to be close. It is going to be very close. Michael is right there. Okay, let's go back out to Michael. Michael, big hailstorm approaching Chickasha. What are you seeing right now from Storm Command?
Wow, look at this supercell, Damon, on the structure of the storm from Storm Command right now, moving into Chickasha. We're on the south side of Chickasha right now. I can tell you, we just passed the baseball fields. It's right along the H.E. Bailey Turnpike. There are a ton of kids out playing baseball right now with this storm looking like that, moving right into town. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Listen, anybody who's a decision maker into Chickasha, you need to start calling people and tell them to get kids away from the baseball fields and into some kind of shelter. This is not a storm you want to be outside and try to ride out.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of lightning inside this storm too, by the way, and you can just see how threatening the clouds are right now coming into Chickasha. So we are watching this one closely right now. Again, Chickasha, I know your phones went off. 3-inch size hail. That's bigger than tennis balls. 70-mile-per-hour winds moving in. Let's go back over into Cleveland County. Just give a heads up, an update for those in Norman right now. We're bouncing all over the place, but these storms, it is Friday night, and I get it. There's a lot of people that want to go out, and your phone has probably gone off, quite a few times here. So heads up, Norman, you have one batch of storms right now that are moving out of town, but you have another batch of storms that are about to move back in. So if you're in South OKC, Moore and Norman, it looks like we had a bit of an uptick in the winds and the storms just on the backside of this. So we're getting two cells passing through. One that's now making its way east of Norman. That's going to have quarter-size hail and winds of 60. This storm right here, officially, it's not really warned for hail. It is warned for wind, and that wind is about to hit Newcastle. And the storm does extend as far north as South OKC, right along I-240. It's dropping down to the southeast, so now it's beginning to pick up there on the west side of Moore, and eventually that's going to move right over I-35. And then Norman, I know this storm here, we got hit with it. It lasted really fast, probably only just a few minutes, but we have another storm that's moving in right behind it that is going to have some severe winds. And I know there's a lot of events going on this evening. There's a lot going on this weekend. These storms right now, it's about 640. They are moving pretty quickly. Let me double check the speed on these here. I know we've had some pretty fast moving lines here, 40 miles per hour. So there you go. By the way, new severe thunderstorm warning coming for South OKC. Looks like lots of strong wind pockets now starting to pop up within this. So I know it's going to get a bit confusing. We have so many warning polygons right now flashing. We have one up by Choctaw, one in Cleveland, another in Cleveland. Then you have in McLean County, and then down in the Grady County as well. So we are going to have to watch. Jonathan, we're looking for some pockets of strong winds, by the way, right now between Bridge Creek and as you make way towards the airport. Let's see here. Looks like we had a couple there, by the way, down by Draper. And so there's a pocket of winds right there between Mustang moving into the west side of Moore. These are going to have winds around 60 miles per hour. So updated time of arrival. Let's see here. Basically, it's